Hi everybody, what's up? My name is Juan. I am just one reader and I am here to recommend a novella, which is weird because I never read novellas. I usually go for novels or short stories. I never read novellas, but guess what? I read this one and it was so incredible, so amazing that I thought I just needed to share it with you guys because I don't see a lot of people reading this. We're talking about this, and more people should know about it and read it. So, this novella is The Lady Macbeth of the Mzinsk District. It was written in 1865 by this guy, Nikolai Leskov. This is basically the story, just to summarize it, this is the story of this woman who gets married to this merchant who is, well, you could say he's a pretty wealthy merchant. So she becomes part of his life. They become husband and wife, and she finds herself really miserable in this position. She finds herself voiceless and trapped and without any freedom to do what she desires. She has no desire. It almost feels like she has no identity other than being the wife of this merchant. So then one day the husband goes away on a trip and she starts having this affair with one of her husband's workers. And of course, things get really, really dark and tragic and violent, really violent. And of course, Lady Macbeth, from the title, we can gather that this is going to be a tale of not very nice things, not very nice events, if you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, from the very first paragraph, from the opening of the novella, we find out that this is kind of a cautionary tale that we're reading. This is not something that will have a happy ending at all. This is gonna end in tragedy. It's gonna end very badly for every person involved, and it does. Everything goes wrong, and it's such a delight. It's such a delight, and it's so wonderful and so delicious to watch all the pieces of this puzzle just crumble and burn to ash, and just watching everything fall apart is kind of a violent delicacy, you would say. I would say. So, something that I really loved about this reading experience was that from the very opening, we know that this is going to be a tragedy, that this is going to be awful for everyone involved in it, and still, even though you know that, with that information, the novella is so suspenseful and so intriguing, and you are constantly on the edge of your seat, just waiting for things to happen. And it has this really strong sense of inevitability because you know that things are going to happen, take a turn for the worst. You're just waiting for things, for bad things to happen, and so you're just kind of waiting for things to happen. And I loved that experience. It was really intense, and I was not expecting something Russian from the 1800s to be this fun and this entertaining, but it was a really fun experience. Now, another reason to read this book and appreciate it deeply is how effective it is. I think the writing, the character development, and the way that the story is structured and told is incredibly effective and really well executed, because the author, this man Nikolai Leskov, provides the reader with just enough information to keep this story going and to keep things fresh and alive and exciting. But he doesn't provide any unnecessary detail. He is the kind of author who will give you past, present, and future in one sentence. This is the kind of story, the kind of writing in which, in one sentence, a character can be born, live, and die in one sentence. It's a very synthetic novel. The story is actually very long and very complex and very complete, but it is delivered in 60 pages. So that is quite a feat of writing, I think. Now, this was adapted into a movie that was just released here in Mexico City. It is called Lady Macbeth, and it is, I think, an English production. Yeah, I think it was English because I saw the BBC logo at the beginning. Um, yeah. So anyway, I just saw it tonight, and I loved it. I loved it. It was great. It's one of my favorite movies of recent months, probably. But there are some differences with the or source material with the novella, particularly in regards to the ending. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but just keep in mind if you are going to read this and if you're going to watch the movie afterwards, or vice versa, if you are going to watch the movie or have watched the movie and you're planning on reading the book, just keep in mind that there are some differences, some important differences concerning the ending, and just be open to those differences happening. They're both great. I loved this as a book. I loved it. Like, I really, 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 really loved it. I give it 4 stars, but it's a very high four. And I also loved the movie. It's a great, great movie. Really great performances and cinematography and direction. So anyway, that was my recommendation for a novella, The Lady Macbeth of the Mtsinsk. I don't know how to pronounce this Russian thing. The Mtsinsk district by Nikolai Leskov. Please let me know if you have heard of this book, and if I have sparked your interest. Please let me know because I would love to be able to discuss this with someone else.